Hello, this is Pretty John P. from the Department of English, Carmel College, Mala. Today we are going to deal with the part 2 of Claiming an Education by Adrienne Rich, the American poet, essayist, and feminist. As I've told you before, the speech entitled Claiming an Education, it was first printed in magazine The Common Women in 1977 and eventually reprinted in the collection On Lies, Secrets, and Silence selected prose from 1966 to 78. And this is a convocation address given by Rich to the graduating women at Douglas College in September 1977. Her description is of the necessity of removing the sexism in the universities and her perspective on claiming an education by women all over the world. So let's move on to the next paragraph. Less than a decade ago, with the rebirth of feminist movement in this country, women students and teachers in a number of universities began to demand and set up women's studies courses to claim women-directed education. And despite the inevitable accusations of unscholarly group therapy, faddism, etc., despite backlash and budget cuts, women's studies are still growing, offering to more and more women a new intellectual grasp on their lives, new understanding of our history, a fresh vision of the human experience, and also a critical basis for evaluating what they hear and read in other courses and in the society at large. So, in this paragraph, faddism, that is, in the middle of this paragraph, we find despite the inevitable accusations of unscholarly group therapy, faddism. So, here, faddism means a tendency to like a style, activity, or interest for a very short period of time. Backlash means a strong negative reaction by a large number of people, especially to a social or political development. Here we find a public backlash against feminism and subsequent events and regarded it as unscholarly group therapy and faddism. So, this paragraph is about the rebirth of the feminist movement in the 1960s. We have explained to you what is feminism movement in the previous class. So, here in the paragraph, we find the women students and teachers demand for the introduction of women's studies courses to claim women directed education. Women directed education was accused of being unscholarly, group therapy, faddism, and the like. Women directed education offers a new understanding of history and human experience, a critical evaluation of curriculum and society at large. And you can see the images of women striking for peace and equality in the 1960s and 70s, which was regarded as the second phase of the feminist movement. Next paragraph. But my talk not really about women's studies, much as I believe in their scholarly, scientific, and human necessity. While I think that any Douglas student, that is student of Douglas College, has everything to gain by investigating and enrolling in women's studies courses, I want to suggest that this is a more essential experience that you owe yourselves, one which courses in women's studies can greatly enrich, but which finally depends on you in all your interactions with yourself and your world. This is the experience of taking responsibility towards yourselves. Our upbringing as women has often told us that this should come second to our relationships and responsibilities to other people. We have been offered ethical models of the self denying wife and mother, intellectual models of the brilliant but slapdash dilettante. Slapdash means which is done too hurriedly and carelessly. Dilettante means an amateur who often pretends to be knowledgeable. So, Let's continue. But slapdash dilettante who never commits herself to anything the whole way, or the intelligent woman who denies her intelligence in order to seem more feminine, or who sits in passive silence even when she disagrees inwardly with everything that is being said around her. So here in this paragraph, Adrienne Rich, she explains that it is not only important for women to attain a college degree, but to make command of over their education, especially their lives in general, and that too by resisting society's traditional view of women. That is, they have to be very passive, they have to self deny. So, all these passive and self denying women's roles she's talking about. So, what she is urging is you have to take responsibility towards yourself. That's why it is given in italics in the text. So, Rich illustrates what individuals can do in order to benefit the most from their education. She urges the audience to claim their education by making their goals and aspirations their top priority. Here, a rich logic is that future of the individual's lives lies in the dedication to themselves and their education. Thus, each individual must take a responsibility to maximize their education. Moving on to the next. Responsibility to yourself means refusing to let others do your thinking, talking, and naming for you. It means learning to respect and use your own brains and instincts, hence, grappling with the hard work. It means that do not treat your body as a commodity. Commodity means object with which to purchase superficial intimacy or economic security. For our bodies and minds are inseparable in this life. And when we allow our bodies to be treated as objects, our minds are in mortal danger. It means insisting that those to whom you give your friendship and love are able to respect your mind. It means being able to say with Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte Jane Eyre, that is, the image is given over here. Jane Eyre is a novel by Charlotte Bronte, published under the pen name Cora Bell. It is widely considered as a classic. It gives truthfulness to the Victorian novel with its realistic portrayal of the inner life of a woman, noting her struggles with her natural desires and social condition. So let's continue. Quote, I have an inward pressure born with me, which can keep me alive if all the external delights should be withheld or offered only at a price I cannot afford to give. So, in this paragraph, Adrienne Rich, she stresses about the responsibility. So, what is this responsibility? Responsibility to yourself means learning to respect and use your own intellect and your own instincts, which is combined with hard work and refusing to depend on others to do your thinking and talking. So, refusing to treat or to be treated our bodies as commodities or objects. That is to be the stand which should be taken by every woman. And she further explained it by using a quote from Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre. And this particular quote shows how Jane Eyre's self respect and sense of moral right and wrong drive her to make correct choices, even if they make her physically or emotionally uncomfortable. And this is just opposite to Mr. Rochester, the male protagonist in the novel, who will break the rules to ensure his comfort, unlike Jane, who will sacrifice her comfort to follow the rules she sets for herself. So, next paragraph, it is again a further elaboration of what is responsibility to yourself. Responsibility to yourself means that you don't fall for shallow and easy solutions, pre-digested books and ideas. Weekend encounters guaranteed to change your life. Taking gut courses instead of ones you know will challenge you. Bluffing at school and life instead of doing solid work. Marrying early as an escape from real decisions, getting pregnant as an invasion evasion of already existing problems. It means that you refuse to sell your talents and aspiration short simply to avoid conflict and confrontation. And this in turn means resisting the forces in society which say that women should be nice, play safe, have low professional expectations, drown in love and forget about work, live through others, and stay in the places assigned to us. It means that we insist on a life of meaningful work, insist that work be as meaningful as love and friendship in our lives. It means, therefore, the courage to be different, not to be continuously available to others when we need time for ourselves and our work, to be able to demand of others, parents, friends, roommates, teachers, lovers, husbands, children, that they respect our sense of purpose and our integrity to persons. Women everywhere are finding the courage to do this more and more, and we are finding that courage both in our study of women in the past and who possessed it and each other as we look to other women for companionship, community, and challenge. The difference between a life lived actively and a life of passive drifting and dispersal of energies is an immense difference. Once we begin to feel committed to our lives, responsible to ourselves, we can never again be satisfied with the old passive way. So, what Rich says here is the elaboration of the concept of responsibility to oneself. Don't fall for shallow and easy solutions, that is, pre-digested books, ideas, and weekend encounters which could guarantee to change your life cutting courses. Instead of ones you know will challenge you, bluffing at school and life instead of doing solid work. So she also says about the courage to be different, which means women should be able to demand from others. That is, others here stands for parents, friends, roommates, teachers, lovers, husband, and children to respect their sense of purpose and their integrity as persons, and not the respect and purpose of women herself. So don't, she says that don't sit in passive silence even when you disagree inwardly with everything that's being said around you. She further encourages her audience, graduating students of Douglas University, to dismiss preconceived notions of women being inferior to men. Instead, they should focus on themselves and their personal goals instead of fulfilling stereotypical imagined responsibilities of women. The argument that one's education aspiration should always be the top priority is I should say, the meaning of responsibility of yourself.